We are back with our fourth installment of Reddit stories in Minecraft, and today in Minecraft we're going to be working on a big old windmill while living on our survival island. So if you're doing chores, trying to take a nap, or doing whatever, get comfy and enjoy the stories. People, we are starting off with a doozy. This is like a 12-parter, and I am shook just from reading the first little bit, and now I'm just going to go into the rest blind because I feel like that'll be more enjoyable for everybody. So let's get straight into it. My 15-year-old idiot kid got his girlfriend pregnant on purpose. Throwaway for obvious reasons. I, 30 female, have a child who is a 15-year-old male. We'll call him Ollie, plus other children aged 2, 6, 9, and 11. As you can tell by my own age, I was a teen parent, and I was lucky, and we married at 18 and are still married, have a healthy relationship, worked our way out of a very dire situation by graduating and starting a trade, and we are now living comfortably, stable in all ways. This information is relevant. Ollie has been friends with this girl, we'll call her Bree, since he was 7 years old. Their family used to live in the same city as us and went to the same school, same friend group, etc. We know her parents and are long distance friends ourselves, not close friends, but say hello when the kids are on video chat, and have had drinks together before. Bree's family moved to a very small town 3 states away due to rental affordability. No secret, we all talked about the rising cost of everyday life. The cost of living in this city has risen, forcing many locals out, and they moved because of that and for a better job opportunity 18 months ago. Ever since then, Ollie has been begging us to follow, giving us a sales pitch on cheaper housing, better paying jobs, none of which fit either of our professions, by the way, just the whole works. We have said no because, well, no, but even if we wanted to, our children are in school, sports, and have friends here. Selling and buying another house, finding work outside of our skill set, or having to learn new skills. Any normal adult would really understand this, but he of course does not. Well, fast forward to Christmas, Bree's family comes back to our city for the holiday, and the kids met up a couple times with each other. It was to my understanding that they were always with the other kids, but obviously not, since Bree is pregnant, and I'm certain it was on purpose. My son has access to condoms. I don't care for opinions on that. My access was restricted, and I had him. He has had sex ed from me, my husband, school. He knows dang well how babies are made and how not to have one. Ollie now wants us to move in order for him to be with her and the baby. It is confirmed she's pregnant. I've talked to her parents, and I said no. I don't feel I need a reason, but he asked. So I told him, you're 15. We don't have any proof it's your child yet. I'm not moving us away from our lives, and you are not going alone until you're 18. We will do a DNA test, then we will look at parenting plans, and topped it off with a too bad, too sad. You made your bed, now you have to sleep in it. He took my answer back to Bree, and now all communication between me and her parents has been cut. I'm a terrible person. My comments about the DNA test are disgusting, and it's fueling my son's hate for me. He says I'm keeping him from the love of his life and future baby, using my own successful relationship as proof it will work out. I actually don't even know if I'm right or wrong. I'm just really upset and feel like my life I worked really hard for has been destroyed. Update 1. To answer some questions, she is due September around the 22nd, so there is no option for abortion. I don't think that or adoption ever was. Ollie admitted it was on purpose last night. Apparently it was Bree's idea first as a joke that turned into a plan together. Bree's parents will only pass messages through my son, and I've heard this for myself as I stood outside the door and listened to them tell him, quote, tell your mother, insert info below, because I know I will just go off on her about that BS still, end quote. They are talking crap about me with my kid. They are appalled that I would think that way of Bree when I have known her for more than half of her life and do not wish to talk to me. I will not allow him to move out there alone. There are some past issues, such as Bree breaking up with him twice in the last 18 months because she found someone that she liked more in her new town. Both times were around August and October last year with the same boy, and when it ended, she came back to Ollie. Bree is a nice girl, but her behavior is toxic and has been since a child. Her mother and stepfather are very nice, but the relationship is unstable. The house is chaos. 9 children combined, blended family, and 2/3 being teens with serious mental health struggles. He would essentially be leaving stability for chaos and no structure. I want a DNA test, and I will not budge on that. I am close to cutting his contact completely because they are only empowering him and reinforcing his behavior towards me and his father. His father is a man of few words, which is unhelpful. So far, he's backed everything I've said and only really chosen to say, you have the intelligence of a pear. Update number 2. This was made on May 30th. Things have gone south even further. At this point, husband and I have been blocked on all social media and numbers blocked, but the communication with Ollie has continued. Ollie gave us Bree's parents' email address to send an email, but before using that, I asked him to video chat Bree with me there, and then I could ask Bree to please get her parents so I can talk to them about this and tell her that if they were going to continue to refuse, then I would be blocking all contact to Ollie and communication until this is resolved. I told Ollie this before the call. At first he flipped out about it, but it was this or I cut communication completely. I do think he understood that it is not okay that her parents are speaking to me through minors, and he said himself he would like us to talk to each other. Bree joined the call and hung up when she saw I too was there. Ollie called back a few times and she didn't answer. She asked via text why I wanted to talk to her, and Ollie told her that I wanted to speak to her mother, and if we didn't resolve the communication issue, then all contact would be ended until her parents made contact with us and we make a plan for the next few months, including DNA, and then birth arrangements, and also said that if the baby is his, we will travel there for the birth and the first few weeks after. He told her that I personally think it probably is his baby, but I want to be sure and make sure everything is done right from the start. In response to this, Bree blocked him, and he is totally heartbroken and not eating, sitting in his room all day and night, but most surprisingly, not mad at me. I'm very, very sorry for him and to us, sad about it all, and I think regretful. He even asked me if there was a way to, quote, undo it for himself. I haven't talked about signing over his rights because I think he's just upset right now. A mutual friend of Bree and Ollie's here in our hometown showed him a few posts she made in the last 24 hours, things like, quote, "It's you and me against the world, baby girl," and memes about deadbeat dads. She also announced the pregnancy, which she hadn't done yet, and the posts had some single mother facts and quotes. Ollie's friends knew about the situation, and a few were under the impression that he had dumped her and the baby, going by the posts, but once he explained what had happened, they all rallied behind him in the comments. I said not to, and now she's blocked them and we can't see what she's posted. This is just a nightmare. I had a plan in mind and wanted to talk to her parents about it, but I don't even want to waste my time at this point. Basically, my plan was to have Bree do the DNA blood test, and we would pay for the full $1,500 for it. And if it was Ollie's baby, we can book flights and plan to be there for the first month. And I'll stay with them, or even maybe our entire family will, so we can work on a parenting plan and getting into mediation for a judge to sign off on it. Ollie's father and I split for the first 7 months of his life, so we have done this before and we know how the process works. But honestly, at this point, I think I would just leave it to settle before sending an email. Update number 3, June 3rd. Ollie's friend was able to see her Instagram through an old account, different email. I don't use Instagram enough to know what that means, but it meant they weren't blocked when they reactivated. They found the pregnancy announcement post, and if you scrolled across, it showed a digital copy of the scan Bree sent us at 16 weeks, which was apparently the first scan she had at the OB, and it's dated April 4th and clearly says GA 19 plus 3 weeks, making the due date either August or early September. This would not line up with the date given to us, but does line up with when her parents told me she was pregnant mid-April, and they've told us that we had the pregnancy confirmed and sent a photo of the printed picture, which the date isn't on there. I actually think it may have been cut off the top. I haven't told Ollie this yet because I want to be sure. I'm very concerned about his mental health at the moment and taking that into consideration. But unless she gave the wrong period dates and the baby measured only 16 weeks, then it's not possible for it to be our son's baby. Also, some added information here. Her due date from what we know is September 22nd. She was here from December 20th to January 7th and saw Ollie December 21st and 22nd, and lastly on January 4th and January 5th. I asked Ollie when this actually happened, and he said January 4th was the only time, which makes more sense as they were in a public gathering otherwise. January 4th, they went to a mutual friend's birthday that night but never stayed overnight. I have had 5 kids and I know the dates are too close to figure it out that way. Ollie also clarified that the joke Bree made was to just see if it happens. The pregnancy, that is, because if it were to happen, that would mean he could move and they could live together. To me, it sounds like she had the plan a lot longer, but I may have some bias here. Update June 15th. I spoke to Bree's biological father, who lives in this town, who had no idea about any of this. And before you come at me, there was no known DV or anything like that. I felt I had run out of options at this point and just wanted a way to contact them. Bree's mother then made contact, agreed to the blood test if we paid for it, and when Ollie and Bree spoke again, Bree asked to come here for a holiday and have an ultrasound with him to prove dates in person. I agreed to this, but I may not be thinking straight with the stress we've all been under. She says she is 26 weeks, sent him a photo of her belly, which has grown, and told him there is no other option but for him to be the father, and that the ultrasound had to go by her last period date, and she didn't remember, so she went by her app, and it was the period before. That's why the dates are out on the scan. I asked if she had a physical booklet of pregnancy notes or something because I know from experience that they have all the confirmed information on them. but she said everything is digital with her doctor and I didn't want to push because it's not my medical info. I'm wondering if I do just fly her out here on my own terms, her mother has agreed to that, and do the blood and ultrasound here and put an end to it all. Update June 25th. We've all come to a travel arrangement. We paid for Bree to fly out and her father was paying for the ticket home. Bree was supposed to fly to us this morning and stay for 6 weeks total, flying back sometime in August. Once again, her father is in charge of that flight. She was staying with us over these next few weeks while we do our annual 4th of July family vacation for a week and then a couple more weeks back here at home for the ultrasound and blood tests. This was decided together between both families because Bree and Ollie would like to have some kind of positive experience and memories during the pregnancy, and obviously if the baby wasn't his, Bree would be taken to her father's and we would be finished with it all. But she never turned up for her flight. She texted the night before that the doctor did not recommend that she travel as apparently there was a risk of preterm labor due to her age and severe morning sickness makes her only able to tolerate pineapple juice. So she is needing to be hospitalized and maybe even deliver early. This entire situation is on top of a group photo that included Bree, who was obviously pregnant in a tight tee, hugging the boy she was dating in her new town with his hand on her belly. It was quickly removed from her story when Ollie asked, "I think it was intentional to make him jealous." I am done. I do not believe her or her parents. I have contacted a lawyer and a therapist, and I will not be updating again until I know the outcome of the DNA test, which at this point I assume will not be done until after the baby is born, since I was told I cannot force her to have the DNA test while pregnant. If this baby is Ollie's and my grandchild, I am willing to move Bree here and have her live with us, as it has no chance and will continue to ruin my son's life from afar. Update July 7th. I didn't plan on updating prior to the DNA test, but I can confidently say we do not need it to know the truth. We will likely still do one if Bree sticks to her story, only I will go through the courts at this point. We have a family lawyer and he has advised these updates are fine as long as I do not identify anyone by name, location, etc. I had a lot of helpful messages on here and I do read them all even if I don't reply. One was from a radiographer who suggested that I look at the measurements of the baby on the ultrasound if I'm able to get scan pictures and then use that to calculate if the baby was 16 weeks on the scan. I have kept that idea in mind if I ever got the chance to see the scan myself. The same Redditor also raised concerns that she only had this one scan at 16 weeks and there wasn't a 20-week scan again 4 weeks later, because apparently all OBs would do a scan at 18 to 22 weeks. The one photo we have seen is a photo of a scan, a profile shot of the baby's face at 16 weeks, and there hasn't been another scan since then. We've been playing it safe and being very careful with how we tread around Bree, but not wanting to cause any arguments. We have not mentioned this to them yet, and if by chance someone tells them via this post or they know about this post, we don't care. We have nothing to lose since the baby isn't Ollie's, and this is how I know. Bree and Ollie have many mutual friends, but only one other girl, whose name is Hannah, who is still friends with both of them within the same friend group. Hannah believes Ollie is the father because that's what Bree says, but she has had a falling out with Bree this week. It led to her talking to Ollie, and then she sent Ollie a video that Bree sent her after the ultrasound in April. Prior to this, Bree had told her not to show him because he wasn't going to be in the baby's life by choice and all the things she was posting about deadbeat dads. The video shows multiple measurements being done, and I was able to see clearly that the baby measured 19 weeks and that the scan was the 20-week scan. With that timeline, there is no way that the baby is Ollie's baby. She is due August 26th. Ollie knows all of this and he is doing okay, very angry, but he has the support he needs. What happens now, we don't know, but we know the truth. All we can do now is speculate as to why my son was the target of this plan. I know we will likely never know the truth. Final update here. To clear things up, I will not be taking this up with Bree and her family until the baby is born. I'm not concerned about the DNA test results, but we will still do one. In the video, the OB or whoever was doing the scan says, "So your due date is August 26th, which lines up perfect for your last period." So I know that's the due date, and you can clearly see the numbers on screen showing the measurements are 18 to 19 weeks. Ollie cannot be the father. She wasn't even in the state. There's plenty of other more detailed clues I have but will not post. I think the father is the boyfriend in that town, but what I don't understand is why Ollie was better. Yes, there is more money, but we aren't rich. We just live smart. Thank you for the support. And that is the final update we will ever get on the story. Holy man, that is a crazy story. I feel horrible for this family, and obviously I feel really bad for Ollie in this scenario because he's just a young kid and he thinks he's in love, or maybe he is. I don't know. It's hard to say when you're that young, but Yeah, I mean, he just got done dirty here. I mean, it sounds like the girl was just obviously stringing him along the whole time. And then, of course, to make it even worse, it's one thing to string someone along, but then you try and make them believe that they're the father of a child that's not theirs. That is some crazy, like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Lemon Channel, but they're like really over the top, like crime based movies, I guess. I don't know. Think of the Hallmark Channel, like that quality of acting and production, and then turn it into like dumb murder mysteries of like a secret stalker, kills the wife so she can be with the husband, or like crazy stuff like that, right? That's like the kind of plot this is. Like, I don't know. It's weird. I feel bad. And someone brought up a really good point, basically saying if Bree here is having unprotected, we'll call it fun, with multiple partners, that the son needs to get tested. And luckily, the poster said that Ollie is clean because they already got him tested. So that is good because, oh my goodness, I can't imagine getting like a lifelong thing like that at such a young age. I mean, I couldn't imagine getting it ever, but like when you're 15 and you just don't know any better, I mean, clearly this kid has been taught to, use protection. So it is kind of on him for being dumb. Like, I understand he's young, but like everyone's been young, like you can only use that excuse so much. Like, just wrap it up. Okay. Like, if you don't want a kid or you don't want the potential of getting a no disease, just wrap it up. Okay. And just be selective with who you do the stuff with. Okay. Oh, someone else brought up a really weird idea, and they're saying that this could have been a scheme cooked up by Bree's parents, and that the true baby daddy isn't someone they want Bree to be with, and they'd rather have him be with Ollie, whether it's because of the financial situation difference, or maybe Ollie's just a better person, who knows. And I mean, God, they could be right, dude, and that's crazy. If that's the case, like, I can't imagine like going to your kid like, okay, here's a plan. You messed up bad. We are going to try and gaslight an entire family into believing that this kid is a part of their family now. Like, that is just despicable behavior. Oh my goodness. I hope that's not true, but who knows, man. But yeah, I mean, that's going to do it for this story. Most importantly, man, I just feel bad for the kid. Like, I know he messed up, right? He should have wrapped it up, whatever. But just like the mental load he is taking, and that sounds like I'm making a very bad pun there, which was not my goal, but it's pretty bad. But like what he's going through, that is just horrible when you're that young. I can't imagine. So hopefully, I've never been to therapy, but hopefully if he needs it, he goes and gets it and it helps him out, because I can imagine that would be very traumatizing, like moving on to like a new girl after that. Like, let's say 2 years down the road, he's in like a serious relationship. Like, I feel like in the back of your mind, you're going to be sitting there wondering like, oh my God, is she going to go, find a new guy first of all, right? Because that was kind of the first problem. Or B, let's say eventually he does get a girl pregnant. And even if it's planned, he might say, well, is this actually my kid? Like, I don't know. Like, the last time this happened, it did not go well. So yeah, heart goes out to this guy and the family. Hopefully everything is looking better now. We're about 2 weeks out from that last update, I think. So hopefully they're doing better, and let's move on. I left my date on the side of the road. I, 22 female, went on a date with a man, 31 male, I met on Hinge. We chatted for a few days beforehand, and he bragged about the fun things we were going to go do and the nice car he was going to pick me up in. When the day of the date finally rolled around, he told me his car, an Audi A5, was in the shop and that he had to pick me up in his brother's car, which ended up being pretty beat up with spray paint and stickers all over it. I decided just to drive my own car. I met him at our first location, which was the museum. At the counter, he pulled out his EBT card so that he could get in for free, which was shocking. He told me before he was an electrical engineer, so how would he qualify for EBT? The date actually goes okay, and we leave the museum and decide to drive in my car to the next location. The second he sees my car, he starts laughing and acting strange. I ask him what's funny, but he brushes me off. We drive from the museum to the second location, and about 5 minutes into the drive, he asked if the car we were driving is mine. I tell him it was and that it was a gift, and he laughs and says I would have respectfully declined. Nissan Altimas are one of the most low quality cars on the market. To be honest, I really didn't know what to say after that. For reference, I have a 2021 Nissan Altima that I inherited after my mom died. He then says the girly seat covers don't help and that I should go for an all black look. I tell him that they're my mom's seat covers, and by the way, he already knows that she has died recently. But regardless of that, he then says, I'm not sure why that matters, it doesn't look good. I start getting a little pissed, and then I ask about his Audi, I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone, and if he has any pictures of it. He gets super defensive and continues to talk bad about my car. I pull over and tell him to get out. He's somehow shocked, but gets out. And that's that. I'm not sure if I overreacted, but it felt like he lied about his job in his car and maybe felt insecure when he saw mine. And that is going to do it for this one. I think she's right. I feel like he is insecure. And, you know, the Audi being in the shop, or Audi, again, I'm sorry, I don't know how to properly say it. Okay, I drive a Ford, right? My car model is nice and easy to say, okay? Anyways, though, his excuse for the car being in the shop is like me saying, oh, well, you know, the girl I was going to bring to the dance back in 8th grade, she lives in another state, but dude, she is a rockin' 10, you know? There's always that guy in school. And why does that guy exist? Dude, it's okay. Just go with your friends, right? I never went with a girl. Well, kind of. It's weird. Anyways. But yeah, I mean, this guy obviously sucks. I'm assuming there wasn't a second date. It sounds like there could have been if he wasn't just a straight up liar. And this is yet another scenario where it pays to just be yourself. Okay, listen to the little pep talks and cheesy mom quotes or whatever. Just be yourself and you're going to get further in life and also just enjoy life more. I dumped my girlfriend because she made me a, quote, test Instagram story and I failed. I, 26 male, broke up with my girlfriend of 9 months yesterday because I'm apparently supposed to treat her Instagram like a job interview. She posted a black screen to her story with the caption, quote, some people really disappoint you, LOL, end quote. No context, no explanation, just that. So I ended up just ignoring it because I'm not a mind reader and I'm not going to play high school games. I assumed it was about one of her friends or her just being passive aggressive about work or whatever. And well, apparently that was a test. She told me I failed because I didn't message her right away asking what was wrong. She said it showed I don't care enough to check in. I told her I don't check Instagram every 5 minutes and if she has a problem with me, she should act like an adult and talk to me instead of fishing for attention through vague stories. She said I was being cold and emotionally unavailable. I said she was being manipulative and immature. She cried, I packed my stuff. She's still messaging me telling me I'm heartless for leaving her over, quote, one small thing. But it's not one small thing, it's the million little red flags I've ignored for too long. The tests, the mood swings, the social media drama. I'm not dating a puzzle I have to solve daily just to avoid a tantrum. I want peace, not stories written in invisible ink that I'm expected to decode while she sits there with her arms crossed, waiting to see if I love her enough to notice. Done, blocked, logged out, I feel like I can breathe again. And that's the entire post right there, and in all honesty, I do not blame the guy whatsoever. And for people thinking, oh, well, you're kind of overreacting to one thing, you know, this clearly was just like the straw that broke the camel's back because, again, he said there was a million little red flags. So, you know what? If you don't want to date that person who's having you jump through hoops all the time, I get it. I would not want to either. And I respect the decision. I also just kind of respect the decision of ending it quickly rather than like dragging it on, because I feel like that happens sometimes. People just drag on relationships because either they don't want to end it because they don't want to hurt the feelings of the person, because even if they're done with the relationship, you still might care about them, or sometimes people are selfishly scared of being alone and just figure, well, I'll stick out the relationship until I find someone better, which is very messed up. But hey, that's what people do, unfortunately. It's a tough world out here, okay? I haven't experienced it, but I have heard about similar situations to that happening, and that just sounds awful. So yeah, I mean, good on this guy. I mean, not that he necessarily wants my opinion, or you might not even want my opinion, but here I am giving it. Anyways, though, moving on to the next post. I paid $6,000 to change my voice. I am a dude who was born with a really high voice, and even after the puberty, the voice was still high. Despite my friends and family's insistence, I have been mistaken as a woman over the phone for 2 decades, and it eroded my confidence quite a bit. Something I never really shared with others because they would immediately deny that there is something wrong with my voice. After talking to an otolaryngologist, yeah, I definitely said that one right, I found out that I have puberphonia, a voice disorder where the larynx fails to descend during a male puberty. I also got a low ball energy, which might have contributed to it. I don't know what low ball energy is, but okay. I decided to go to Turkey, partly on a whim despite my family's protest, to get voice surgery. For the actual surgery, the doctor changed some thyroid cartilages around my voice box, and my voice that was over 130 hertz is way down at 86 hertz now. The post-op pain was unearthly, but it's been 2.5 weeks and it's healing well. Never thought I'd do any type of plastic surgery, but I have no regrets. Edit 1. Some of you asked for the voice clips. I would like to, but I don't have my pre-op voice clips because I avoided listening to my voice altogether. I can DM you in a few weeks when the surgeon uploads pre and post-op voice clips. Edit number 2. Not even 24 hours and this blew up like a choco pie in a vacuum chamber. I will share a voice pre and post-op on a third-party website when I get the chance. Now, unfortunately, there is no follow-up with the audio clips. Granted, I wouldn't put them in here because I feel like that would not be cool to me. So it doesn't really matter for you, but I just wanted to see and maybe describe it to you guys. But no, not there. Now, in regards to my opinion that nobody asked for and holds zero value, I think he did the right thing. Look, I'm the type of person that subscribes to the idea of just kind of letting people do what they want to do if it's going to make them happy, as long as it's not negatively affecting others. Like, it's your life, okay? If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. Obviously, there are certain, caveats to that. Like, I'm not going to support someone getting into like serious drugs and ruining their life. But, in terms of stuff that isn't going to ruin your life or negatively impact you like to a severe level, I'd say just do it, okay? If you're paying $6,000, hopefully he has the money, because I know some people will go into bad debt just to pay for surgery like that, like plastic surgery specifically, that isn't entirely necessary, which I think is dumb for those people. But again, it's your life. Okay, you live it. I'm going to live mine. So yeah, good for this guy. Hopefully he's happy with his new voice. That would be my biggest concern. Like, what if you get your new voice and like it's too deep, right? Like, you don't want to go straight back to surgery, because obviously that's expensive and you're going to have to wait for it to fully heal before you go back in there probably. So it's going to take a while. Like, and this is all assuming that it is reversible, because obviously not all surgeries are reversible. It sounds like this one maybe would be, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, good for this guy. I can kind of relate on like a small level, because back in middle school, I was a late bloomer, okay? It took me a while to hit puberty and have my voice get deeper. So back in middle school, I was the guy, I'll admit it, and I hate admitting it, but it's just the truth, and I'm going to be honest. I was the guy when I was called on, I'd be talking at this level, obviously higher pitch, because, again, late bloomer. Voice wasn't deep yet. But, I'd be talking at this level, and then I get called on. Like, let's see here. Yeah, it's, I got 27 for question number 4. Like, whatever, like that. Like, totally deep in my voice. It was bad. There was one time, actually, at basketball practice. And this was in, I forget what grade, but basketball practice. I was called to the side just, like, to go talk to the coach one-on-one. And he starts talking to me, and, I'm responding back. And it's like, I don't know, like an authority figure. So like, again, I'm deepening my voice a little bit, and it doesn't sound that dramatic, but I'm just trying to kind of get you to understand here. And he just started like laughing at me, and I knew he was laughing because I knew that he knew I was changing my voice, because obviously he can hear me just like talking to my teammates or whatever, during practice or, wherever. So he totally knew I was lowering my voice, and it just made him laugh. And it's something that's stuck with me forever, because I just think it's hilarious. And just so we're clear, I'm not trying to say that this guy and myself had like a similar situation. They're obviously way different, but I just like can kind of relate on the tiniest level. So I support it. Good for him, and I'm glad he's happy. My friend told me something awful, and I can't stop thinking about it. David, 36 male, and I, 39 male, have been friends since high school. My high school had a thing where the freshman students would be assigned a senior to show them around, and that's how I met him. I was assigned to David. In high school, David started dating a girl named Sammy. They were the stereotypical high school sweetheart couple. They went on cheesy dates, sent each other love letters, and all that type of stuff. Well, they got married after college and were due to have a baby in April. However, Sammy had complications while giving birth and ended up passing away from excessive bleeding, leaving David as a single father to his newborn daughter. David, understandably so, has not been taking it well at all. For the first month or so, his parents were helping him take care of his daughter, but had to go back home as they live about an hour away. Since then, I've been helping David as much as I can, as we live in the same town. Last night, he called me at about 2 a.m. and told me to come over because he needed to talk to me about something important. Even though he had woken me up, I wasn't about to leave him alone, so I drove to his house and found him sitting on his front step drinking a beer. It was clear he had been crying, and that definitely wasn't his first drink. He told me to sit with him, so I did. What he tells me next is what I can't stop thinking about. David tells me that Sammy never wanted to have kids, but David did. He explained how having kids had become a hot topic in their house, and he was worried it would ruin their marriage. He didn't want her to leave him and also wanted a baby, so he chose to sabotage her birth control and convince her to keep the pregnancy. He tells me that now he believes that her death is his fault, and said that he can't look at his daughter without feeling guilt and like a murderer. After hearing this, I was genuinely at a loss for words. I didn't know what to think, and I honestly still don't. After his confession, I just convinced him to go to bed and tried not to think about what he had just told me. I'm not even sure what to think anymore. This whole situation is disgusting. That was 3 days ago, and I've kept in contact with him. However, I have kept it short until I can figure out what to do next. I just genuinely don't know what to do now. Edit. Thank you for everyone for the advice and feedback. Sorry I haven't been replying to any comments. I got pretty busy with life last night, and well, now there are far too many comments to answer. I think the general consensus is that David needs therapy, so I'm going to try and talk to him about it sometime in the next few days. Thanks again for everyone taking their time to comment on my posts. Well, this one's obviously really sad. I'm not going to say a whole lot because it's a very complicated, like emotional type of conundrum he's in here, and I don't feel like I'm really qualified to talk about it. So yeah, obviously the dude messed up horribly, and that's putting it nicely if we're being completely honest, by just blatantly lying to his wife and sabotaging the birth control. Like, that's genuinely unbelievable to do that. Because, like, what would he have done if she did get pregnant, but then she didn't want to keep it? Like, he said it was already a hot topic before. Well, then what's going to happen in that scenario, you know? So, horrible decision. It's a horrible outcome. It's really sad, obviously. And hopefully he's doing better and gets the help he needs. And then, obviously, hopefully he raises his kid and is a good father. So, yeah, with that being said, let's move on to the next one. Well, after that one, I kind of want something a little more uplifting, so I found one of the rare positive posts on Truth Off My Chest. So here we go. My younger brother is the only reason I'm still alive, and he has no idea. He's 19, I'm 27. He's funny, bright, reckless in the best way. When we were growing up, he'd always sneak into my room when I was crying after a fight with our dad and just sit beside me in silence. When I left home at 18 and cut ties with our parents, he was the only one who kept in touch. Last year, I hit rock bottom. Depression, job loss, isolation. I wrote a goodbye letter. I had everything planned. Then he called. Not to say anything important, just to tell me a stupid story about a girl he liked and how he dropped a milkshake on her shoes. I laughed harder than I had in months. After hearing me laugh, he said, quote, "I miss hearing that sound from you." That call, that dumb, perfectly timed, unfiltered call, saved my life. I never told him. I just started crawling my way back from the darkness after that, but I think about it every single day. One phone call, one moment, it made me stay. He saved me, and he doesn't even know it. This story is so cool. Like, genuinely heartwarming. I'm not one to get, like, super emotional generally, but this one, like, actually, like, I, like, felt this one in my stomach. It's just something about, and not to, like, compliment this person's writing style, because it's obviously not what it's about, but it's something about the just simplistic writing style of the post, too, I think really punched it home, you know? And it's just a beautiful story. I don't know. I've always been one who's very like, life is precious. You know, it's hard, but it's precious, and enjoy it as much as you can. So when I see stories like this, it just makes me happy. It's cool. On this positive note, though, I think this is where we are going to end today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you're getting your homework done or those chores. Or if you're asleep, hopefully you're sleeping good. And if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe. But most importantly, have a good day. Smile, stay safe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next one.